Hi, I'm Lamia. I used to play for Fnatic in Season 1 and 2 and picked up the Season 1 World Championship title in Season 1. Yeah, that was really awesome. And I'm back here now to watch Season 4. It's good to be back here watching Season 4 Worlds and just being a fan and enjoying the show. Back in Season 1 it was really small. It was nice, but just really small. Now it's gigantic. So many people are here, so many fans. The atmosphere is nice. The players are more pro than they were back then, I think. When I came here for the first time, I just fell in love with the country and I met a lot of nice people. I got a girlfriend, so I came coming back here. And I also learned the language a bit. The people here are so friendly. Even if you can't speak the language and maybe the shop owner won't be able to speak English with you, but they will still try to help you choose your dish and choose the food you want to eat. I like the weather even though it's really hot. Yeah, but the most important thing about Taiwan are the people. It's quite humbling that actually many people here remember me and some people come up to me and want to take a picture. And I haven't signed autographs, but people come and want to take a picture, which is really sweet. 台湾朋友们你好，我很喜欢在台湾看到世界比赛，希望你们跟我一起喜欢看到世界比赛。
Welcome back, everybody. It is fantastic to hear from Lamia as the fans enjoying watching some games with him and hanging out with him. I will never forget him for his Ashe play from Season 1 and 2. I'm still adamant he's got more Ashe pentakills than anybody else on the planet. Anyways, as you can hear from his former teammate Peng-Nien, next Wednesday on our Singapore Group Stage Worlds preview show, which will start at 10 p.m. Central European Summertime, 1 p.m. Pacific. There's some cool surprises in store for that one. All right, we have arrived at the final match of the day. It's been a long one. SK Gaming will be facing off against the Taipei Assassins. At this point, neither of these teams can make the quarterfinals, so this is a battle that is going to be for both third place in the group and for pride. Let's break it down. SK looked lost versus Royal Club earlier today. I would say they look worse than they did yesterday with their sub. Sven had little to no impact, and TPA, they struggled versus TSM also worse than yesterday. Why have these teams struggled more today than the day before, Double Lift?
I think it's kind of unfair to say Svenskeren had little impact because honestly he did control topside. He worked really well with Freddy because before I would see Freddy would do really well in his lane, but it wouldn't be snowballed to the extreme. And I saw Sven, at least he saw that Freddy was the best player, best performing player so far at Worlds, and he tried his best to dive top lane and to control the enemy red buff. So he was definitely doing the right moves. It seemed like Jesiz and CandyPanda nRated just kind of fell a little bit too far behind. So it was kind of an unsalvageable game.
The other side of the coin, of course, TPA Monte Cristo coming into this game also after a fairly heavy-handed loss to TSM.
Yeah, I think that the key is just to keep wins off of Lee Sin, and then he really neutralizes a lot of TPA's playmaking ability, and coupled with their rather lackluster late-game shot calling, it makes a lot of problems for them. And SK, another reason too is that if we remember the first game when they had their substitute jungler, they looked a little shaky, then they got better, kind of got more adjusted to his style. I think we'll see the same thing here with SK.
Freak.
Yeah, ultimately I feel like as far as a matchup is concerned, these two teams, a lot of SK's weaknesses go away when they fight Taipei Assassins. Their bot lane synergy again has been pretty weak. Morning is a little bit passive as long as you remove Syndra from him, and again you ban at Lee Sin and suddenly wins isn't up in your face either. And so all those early game issues all those early game issues from SK all go away, my throat notwithstanding. But for Taipei Assassins, yeah, it's like find another early game jungler that wins can play that's not Lee Sin, and then maybe they have something going for them.
Final point before we go to predictions, Double Lift.
Well, I just want to say, when I saw CandyPanda get interviewed by Shox, frankly, he looked depressed. He looked like his confidence had been shattered, and he was super disappointed in himself. But Worlds isn't over for him, so I really hope that SK doesn't have their mental game so broken. I don't know how TPA is faring. It seemed like they were still okay. They're still smiling after a loss. So
they're the home crowd at the end of the day. You can't take that away from them. Crippo, we haven't heard from you yet, so I'm going to put you on the spot for the prediction. I think this is quite a difficult one to call. If SK have found some synergy, who's going to win it and why?
It's honestly very hard for me to call, but I'm going to side with SK Gaming here. I just think they're just... all their problems, as we said before, they're going to disappear, and it's still very close to that point. I just have a hunch that SK is going to come out on top.
We'll see if that hunch is correct. Double Lifts?
You're a smart man, Crepa. I'm also going with SK. Even though their confidence might be shattered, their play just seems a lot more solid all around.
We'll see if it works out down the line.
I'm with SK as well. I really agree with what Freak was saying in terms of the matchups in top and mid, and so I think they'll come out on top.
I've learned my lesson from trying to predict against everyone else here since TSMB TPA, but I also am going to go SK Gaming. I think they are going to continue to look a lot stronger as they, as you said, Money Cristo, as they gel once again with Svenskeren, and I think they just are a very strong team as 5.
I think player to watch is going to be Freddy again. I think he will be the one player that can actually break this matchup open completely. And maybe Svenskeren, if he gets on a comfortable champion, actually gets his ganks off before level 6.
Well, we'll see if that can work. You guys at home have been voting over on lolesports.com, and the fan vote is similar to what, opposite of what our analysts are saying. 75% of you think that the hometown team will actually take the win in this match. So maybe faith at home is broken for SK as well. Anyways, let's hand it over to the casters for the final match of the day. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, Quick Shot. So let's check out the starting lineups without further ado. Over in the blue corner, it is SK Gaming from the European LCS. We'll see if they can meet the predictions. In the top lane, it is Freddy122. Svenskeren is in the jungle. Jesiz is in the mid lane. CandyPanda is AD carry and nRated on support.
And in the red corner is the GPL's Taipei Assassins. That's in the top lane. Achie wins in the jungle. Morning in mid. Bebe at AD carry, and Jay on support.
Yeah, personally I was a little surprised there by the analyst desk all voting for SK. I know they have their reasoning, but it's an 0-4 team, we have to remember. Neither of these guys can make it out of the group, but it's still Worlds, right? SK does not want to go winless, and TPA does not want to go 1-5 in front of their home crowd. These teams are still going to be playing pretty hard for this one.
Yeah, there's one thing that absolutely is for sure. We obviously heard from CandyPanda earlier in the interview. Pride is a big, big thing right now. These guys feel disappointed in themselves, you know, as a team, as a whole. They feel that like you've wasted a whole year on turning up here and not picking up a win. So I feel that they may well be throwing everything at this match. We even said beforehand, even looking at this group from the very beginning, we thought this was one of the crunch games, and now it's really a matter of pride for these guys, and it really is. Taipei Assassins, we got a little peek into what they were doing there. We'll see how these pick and bans go.
Yeah, so both these teams are coming in very disappointed, as you said, and it's because they've had some really close games. If you look at the records in this group, it looks, you know, very formulaic, like TSM and Starhorn are just dominating the group. But watching the games, these guys had really close games against Royal Club, and they're going to want to pick up these wins right now.
Definitely a lot of strength needs to come from the bottom lane of SK. Been quite a liability with Freddy playing out of his mind lately for SK while calling the shots. Svenskeren back on the lineup now for the past few games. They have been showing a lot of promise.
Yeah, I'd say I'm a little interested in these bans. 2 mid lane bans coming out, arguably 3 with that Zillion. However, that's a pretty big thing to let through to Freddy.
Yeah. We'll see how it works out for him. The Alistair pick coming through. It does, of course, mean that Maokai potentially will go on towards the other side. Of course, when there is so much focus on the unorthodox Aatrox ban, it is literally the only team that will happen against, I think, throughout the Worlds. But Freddy's not allowed on him.
It's like the only team in Worlds that actually plays Aatrox.
Yeah.
No other region. This is the craziest thing. Europe is a region across the summer split and playoffs. The second most played top laner was Aatrox.
Yeah.
If you look at the LPL, the GPL, NALCS, and OGN, Aatrox wasn't picked a single time or banned throughout the entire season for everyone else. So pretty crazy stuff there. Everyone does ban it against it because no one else has played against it.
I mean, the big thing for Alistair, for Freddy, is the fact that he hasn't played it in the summer. He did not play that champion. He always deferred to Maokai in
Alistair,
that
that is.
lane.
Yeah.
He just simply hasn't played Alistair in there. He did play it early on, I believe. I'm trying to think of against Star on Royal Club. Memory serves, but it's been a long day.
So it's been a lot of games.
It's pretty late at night here.
So as far as top laners picking up Alistair, he is a fairly instinctual champion for these guys to pick up because the actual mechanics of headbutting and punching someone afterwards in lane are pretty quick to learn, and he's mainly about zoning theory in team fights and getting in the right position and having cooldown discipline. Aatrox is another champion that actually has a fair amount of cooldown discipline, needing to go into the right times, so it should transition fairly well to Freddy's playstyle.
You see Achie picking up the Rise. He did play that last time these two came together, but wins, gets that Lee Sin this time.
That's
he
big.
was wreaking havoc on that.
Yeah, also what is big is Svenskeren finally actually going towards Kha'Zix. While Lee Sin is his favorite champion, played 11 times throughout the summer, he's got a much better record on Kha'Zix, 6-1 throughout the summer on the Kha'Zix. We'll see, but again, as you mentioned, wins on Lee Sin. We've already seen what he can do.
And those Kha'Zix games were majority in the playoffs when the things mattered the most for them. Of course, though, they're going against a ton of knock-up synergy with the Yasuo on the other side. I wonder how Jesiz' Zed would fare.
Oh, nRated maybe finally falling back onto a champion that he is actually good on, and it is Morgana. It is a champion he has had a lot of success on. Orianna for Jesiz as well. This is a safe SK game in team comp here, I feel, which would match exactly what Taipei Assassins are doing.
And it would match what SK had succeeded with all year as well. Bebe going with an old fan favorite right here in Ezreal. That should be a nice, fun lane with Jen.
See what they can do. Definitely have a lot of fight potential coming out of this with the disengage of Janna. Interested about that nRated pick, though. We've seen him have a bit of crescendos being missed. The skill shots have kind of been a little problem for him. See if he can bring that one around and lock it down this game. He's definitely going to have to be firing those at a flying winds and a flying morning.
It is the most played champion he had throughout the summer, so while he was only 9-6, played it 15 games, it is a champion. Maybe this is the time to fall back on a safety pick. Maybe the time was already. I mean, he played Sona twice. He's the only person in the entire championship so far that has played Sona, so maybe everybody's just getting comfort picks and hoping that they can get that one Pride win.
I definitely feel like nRated has had maybe one of the worst world championships of players on SK, just because even his Sona plays, the crescendos were very, very missy. And at least with Morgana, you have a lot more setup time. You don't really reactively try to throw the dark bannings. It's more of a pre-planned thing, which is something nRated is very good at.
Keep them dictionaries ready, ladies and gentlemen. He's making words up every game.
You're allowed to make words.
Every step of the way. So the two teams have picked their champions. Who do you think will take this matchup? Send your choices using the hashtag SKWin or TPA win to LOL Esports. And of course, we'll be checking your answers soon. We've seen what the analysts think. Now that the champions are locked in, how are we swinging with this one?
Yeah, it definitely seems like these teams have switched things up. Both teams going for a certain level of comfort. Kha'Zix, Morgana, very comfortable for SK. And of course, that Janna and Lee Sin for TPA.
We always mention morning. Yasuo only a few plays in the regular season, but he's like to bring it out here. And needless to say, he's only got a few things to knock that up. If Jay can get him into range or Wins can get that kickoff, they'll be ready and raring to go for a fight. Let's see what everybody does here as they create their line of scrimmage to start off the game. Our final one of the day here in day 3 of the group stages. We'll see SK versus the Taipei Assassins.
Bebe will get the early aggression down. CandyPanda taking a good burst. He's going to be down to fit points if Bebe could have followed through, but they didn't have that vision ward to continue that aggression. nRated, of course, up towards the top area, given the coverage. Svenskeren versus Wins this time around. We'll see how this battle works out. Of course, Wins has the advantage because there is a Typhoon bearing down on Taipei right now, so got to feel there's something behind him.
Well, good thing they have Janna to control the wind. That's the most important thing.
Wow, guys. All right, let's see what we have here for the beginning of the game. Consumables for Freddy in the top lane. Obviously, he's going to be a happy cow. And we'll see what Achie can do with another Rise Blade coming into this matchup. Wards, holding hands all around the map. Got to have friends in wards. And we'll see what these teams do. They looks like they're giving each other space.
Wow, lane swap.
Lane swap. This is the first time SK have done it. And we talked about, they were very vocal in the fact that they needed Svenskeren to be on the team to create this lane swap opportunity. And we do see nRated and CandyPanda. They actually did try it before against Starhorn Royal Club, but they actually got fooled.
They did not scout the wards properly. They thought they had the right thing. And that was the face check game, actually.
Yeah.
When CandyPanda and nRated walked straight in, ended up giving up first blood very early on in the game.
Definitely not something that they wanted. That Triss Sona was actually first picked by them as well, so it's something they wanted to run very strongly throughout that game here. Definitely a safer start in the 2v1. Freddy looking to soak up some experience from hugging the side there, but they don't let him.
I think he was trying to play peekaboo around the side there.
He's got big horns, you can't hide.
Well, he's going to be in trouble pretty soon here. This lane could shove back away from him. So he either needs to go to the jungle or get some help.
It'd be interesting. We haven't seen too many of the junglers in their pathing with another top laner, so he's going to be hurting here. He's definitely not going into the jungle. He's trying to use that consumable right now, the flask.
That is some fantastic harass from TPA early on. If they're if they're going to do a lane swap, they either need to be able to get the wave shoving towards them, because right now TPA has a textbook freeze on Freddy, and he has no reliable way to get much experience. He did get enough for level 2, which might be okay for him, but he's got to go Roman now.
And this is the thing, you know, obviously the buddy system going on for TPA. We've had Achie running around the wing. This time, he's found himself a bush to stand in. He's still using that max range experience to level himself up.
That's really clever.
It's working. You can see his experience bar going up each time.
We have two completely different philosophies here on 2v1 lanes. Oh, TPA is trying to set up a 2v0, and in the top lane, they're doing a fast push /dive.
Oh, Svenskeren's found them. They're jumping in. Achie's going to get locked up. Has to flash away. The Dark Binding does not land from nRated. And SK, in all intents and purposes, do not get themselves a kill, but they certainly got a lot of flashes.
Quite honestly, TPA has failed in the execution right here, because when they had the 2v1, even though they had a freeze, they were not adequately denying experience from Freddy. So now, when the fast push happens in the top lane, and Chieh goes up there as a support that is required, Freddy can actually battle Bebe because he has enough experience on Alistar to take that fight.
See how the pressure in the top lane continues. Something Svenskeren has been doing since he's been back on the Rift is creating something pressure that puts it on the plate at TPA, and now they have to wonder what are they going to do with Achie. His flash is down, going to have to be roaming a little bit more and play safe, but wins. He's making his way to the bottom lane. Freddy not looking too safe. The headbutt away. No. Does he get it? No. He does not get away, and Wins comes up with first blood.
The home crowd wants to keep SK winless right here at the World Championships, and Wins' Lee Sin is rather explosive. That was a nice gank timing. Bebe needed to be able to continue to deny Freddy, and that's definitely going to help.
Oh, they're going to collapse on towards him. They know that he's around there. Svenskeren has found him. Manages to land the Void Spikes. They're collapsing every angle. Wins is going to have to flash through it towards the Dragon, but instead, he lands the Sonic Wave on towards Jesiz. Jesiz with no mana could not follow this one up, and Wins will walk away from this one without burning a Summoners.
Says thank you very much. It's not over yet though. Jesiz got himself in a bad spot. Morning doesn't have the vision to keep going, and knew Svenskeren was there, but not good right now for SK.
Wins is ridiculously good on Lee Sin. It would be great if he could pick up more champions at that level, because when he's on Lee Sin, this team is ridiculously threatening.
Everybody just seems like they have that much more confidence. We saw after that kill, Bebe with a smile on his face in the bottom lane. He's the one calling these shots along with Wins in the early game. His pathing impeccable right now, and they have wards to make sure bottom lane is safe to be pushed. TPA is getting everything they want right now. Full advantage in each lane.
Jesiz meanwhile going to collect the farm, just about getting it on the tower, missing a couple, and that is starting to begin a bit of a gap. Morning to get that advantage in terms of CS over an Orianna. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, this is not one of the better laning phases for SK. Surprisingly, actually, their laning phases have been even or better in most games, which wasn't a normal thing for SK. During the regular season, you would expect them to have better teamfight transitions, but it just hasn't been. So now, when they haven't been transitioning even lanes, what are they going to do with losing lanes?
You know, I think back to when I saw a very successful Morgana. It was a certain crepo for Evil Geniuses in the final Super Week. I remember the crowd egging him on every time he landed one. He finally realized during the game that it was happening, but I haven't seen nRated actually hit one yet, which is a bit of a problem and may well prove why he hasn't played this champion throughout the tournament so far. Freddy finally getting himself some CS in this bottom lane and keeping up with Achie. Bebe, I should say, getting a lot of free farm.
And the environment that nRated has picked Morg into is not the best one. There's a very shifty team if we look across the board. Ezreal, Yasuo, Lee Sin, very hard to get with bindings.
Good point.
And even the Janna and the Ryze are very fast. As long as they're close, they can have a lot of juking potential for those dark bindings. So nRated will basically have to use the Fog of War and Surprise, because if he tries to actually throw one out in the open, the mechanics of these TPA players and the champions they're playing will allow them to dodge almost every single one.
Make it hard to get these initiations in somewhat as well. We'll see how they come to that as they get to the objectives.
Bit of a lane swap coming through here. Svenskeren takes that red buff. We do see Freddy now going one-on-one with Achie in the top lane. It does mean, of course, that we now have CandyPanda unrated down up against Bebe. Bebe had just used his ultimate actually there on CandyPanda. I think he sidestepped it.
Bebe has to shop. He's down an entire brutalizer to CandyPanda right now. So whatever SK do, even if they're missing the bindings, they would probably win all ins.
SK warding out the brush, telling Svenskeren he cannot move into the forward brush.
Whoa! That's a nice one.
Will he follow?
Could get it. Lightbringer, nice damage on the backside. Yeah, forced to absolutely back now. True Shot Barrage is down, so he's not going to be able to grab SCS.
Hadn't hit level 6, didn't have the culling available, which could have been crucial in that one. Jesiz continuing to put some pressure on towards Morning, who throws out a good wind wall, blocks off any of the damage. Wins going to get spotted out by that ward here. If he comes around, Bebe is making his way down lane. I don't think there's going to be too much aggression.
Bebe locking in that tier as well. Chieh to start off the lane.
This is a Blue Ezreal.
It's done in a while.
Yeah.
The return of Blue Ezreal, actually. So Bebe, not going to have much damage for a while, actually.
A little bit of a plateau.
He's got to take this one a little bit late, and then just try and use it to kite around a whole bunch.
Well, it looks like they're going to give him that chance. He's going to go over and hatch this pink ward in the bottom lane. I think the team alerts him of it, and they say, we should probably prep this a little bit more. Make sure you don't lose too much CS in the mid lane, and they back off there. Achie knows that game sense wins on the backside as well, and this could be big.
Yeah, that's a tricky dive. Diving a rise is tricky at the best of times, and when Wins is waiting off the side there we go, Morning going aggressive, lands the ultimate on towards Jesiz, who replies with the shockwave, but the exhaust blocks down a lot of that damage. Morning will manage to come out on top, or will he? Jesiz now, Wins chases on towards him, keeps him to the safety, and Wins gets himself the second kill of the game.
Just nice timing there by Wins. A couple of things in that fight. Morning's exhaust just on the right time.
Svenskeren.
And Wins is just going to keep going.
Oh my gosh, keeping himself in range. That was very close. Svenskeren gets himself to that experience, but great plays again coming from Wins.
Yeah, and Morning honestly set most of that up. Using the exhaust on the shockwave was perfect timing, and it basically just allowed Wins to beat Svenskeren to the spot.
Well, currently SK Gaming putting pressure back down on towards the bottom lane this time around. Svenskeren now looking to see if he can push something. Jay, very low on health this time, caught by the Dark Payne. The Monsoon not going to be enough, or is it? CandyPanda taken low, Bebe goes in, gets himself the kill. It's a back and forth fight, and nRated trying to dodge around from the damage, but it is Bebe that comes out on top.
Really good binding there by nRated, but if he couldn't get the tether to stick onto Jay, they're just going to end up trading kills. The fact that it's actually Bebe who is still alive is just going to exacerbate that experience gap that already exists in that lane. It's level 8 Ezreal to a level 6 Lucian.
Svenskeren looking for the damage. Shockwave just off, coming up. Wins again with a return to the mid lane. No flashes here except for Morning. Gets himself in. Svenskeren very low, has to use his ultimate. Freddy comes in with the teleport, and it could be big. Trying to clean this one up. He's going to need a little bit more help. He does throw down the ultimate. Oh no, he root presses the minion. Wow.
Achie, no. But the damage reduction is gone on Freddy.
Freddy has to flash away. He's gone out. There's the Howling Gale. And Wins, doesn't quite get the kill on towards him. Svenskeren, he was caught up by the ultimate of Morning without even knowing it.
Yeah, that was just wrong place, wrong time for Svenskeren. He thought he was planned for the counter gank, but Wins just had the perfect kick somehow. It ends up being heavily in the favor of TPA.
That is the way the cookie crumbles for that one. 5-2 now with a 2,000 gold. Let's see this one more time.
Because it's not like, okay, he was on the ward, so it was completely intentional there by Wins. Beautiful kick.
Well, not amazing wins, but
yeah,
get it.
Definitely wins in this one. What a play there by TPA. They're surviving just long enough. Obviously, Freddy has his ultimate here. A slight misplay, actually, by Achie. They would have been able to try and pick up all the kills. They were obviously ignoring Alistar because of his ultimate at that time, but all credit to Wins with that Lee Sin kick.
Well, so often SK come out of the laning phase behind, and there's no difference here. TPA looking strong early on. 5 kills to 2. Morning continuing to look for them, but it is all about Wins. Give him Lee Sin, and he goes aggressive, and we're seeing some serious wind coming out of Morning there.
It is a team of wind, actually. This is a very thematic thing for TPA, but honestly,
it's true.
I'm thinking back to the pick and ban phase. SK banned Syndra and Nami as 2 of their bans. Why, actually, are they doing that? John has been just as effective, if not more effective, than Nami in this World Championship, and Wins' Lee Sin has been the reason that people haven't, that they've been beating TPA because you keep it away from him. SK, I think, a pretty big failure in bans, as we're seeing in this game.
That Lee Sin consistently showing for TPA. I don't think it's going to... Oh dear. Achie could be getting hit up here. Nope. Got to wait too long on the cooldowns to get that extra damage in. This may be drawing up wins now. You already see him moving through the jungle. Red buff's going to be on. It's going to be hard for Freddy to get out of this one. No flash for him.
Either.
Oh, baby. That's a kick in. There's the root prison. It's not going down on a minion. And he's saying, we're going to try to milk these.
Well, I don't think he's going to get out of this one. It's only a matter of time.
Oh, wait a minute.
Achie will go down, and now Win's in trouble. Svenskeren fancies this one. He's going to have to tower dive. It's going to be a tricky maneuver. He takes 1 tower hit, 2 tower hits, 3 tower hits. He's going to get away. But the minions, they're doing a hell of a lot of damage. He needs to just turn around and use the void voice to get the lifesteal. He should clear him out. There we go. And he is safe for now.
Svenskeren strike back right there. You can see as far as combat effectiveness, because they both had the Spirit of Lizard Elder. When he arrived in that fight, he could turn the tides. Wins had so much mobility, but because the gank took quite some time to develop, Svenskeren was able to catch up and turn that one around.
What a great Dark Binding. He actually shifted with that one on him. They were able to get a little extra damage down as he used the ultimate, so they are perfectly using their windows to get a little bit back. Gold's only 500 apart right now. Morning, he's having a little bit of free time with the turret in the mid lane, but Freddy's here.
Freddy coming up, getting himself a little bit of rampage damage on towards those minions. So, Trinity Force being built up by Freddy in that top lane. I think we're going to see the Triforce. See if the static shift comes out as well after the Randians. Maybe. We'll see which way he builds that one. We've been seeing a lot of differences. Of course, the Rod of Ages has been the standard so far throughout this tournament of the few Alistairs that we have seen. Svenskeren's going to give the blue across to Jesiz, who, as of yet, has had little to no impact in that mid lane.
No, he has been very, very much struggling. Wins has had huge presence in that mid lane as well, and obviously the combination of Yasuo and Lee Sin is devastating. I do want to talk a little bit about Bebe, though. Being able to keep up and farm, despite having that tier, and he's starting to move out of that weak phase. If that mana can actually complete, he's finished the mana immune, and it's only 322 of 750, so it's still got a fair bit of time. A lot of stacking mechanics on this TPA team, so they do have a pretty good late game insurance policy.
Hold it on tight, making sure everything goes their way for now. A slight gold lead kind of gives that to them, but any moves can be made. A lot of pressure comes out of that Orion in the objective team fights as well as nRated. We'll have to see how they utilize that. More pressure to the top lane. They want to shut down Achie, getting to that Rod of Ages. They want to shut down quite a bit here, but it's always Wins on the backside, trying to do the damage to Svenskeren. They kick him away, and Morning has already rotated up. They finally take down Achie, but they're now going to take down the cow. They get him, and Svenskeren will be able to get out. A nice jump on the last few. Oh, he connects the resonating strike, and they are going to connect with the kill. The burn will not come through. He gets a little bit of life steal as well.
Wow. And again, you've got to question why Jesiz did not follow up towards the top lane. Meanwhile, Dark Binding goes down along with the Soul Shackles. Jay caught out. He gets dropped. CandyPanda lands that one. Dark Binding miles wide on this.
Wow.
But they do get the tower mid. That's why Jesiz didn't roam.
Some crazy mechanical moves coming out here, and across the board, despite the plays there by TPA, SK comes out ahead. The turret destruction that just happened, it's 3 turrets to 0 actually for SK. It's amazing that they were losing the laning phase, yet they have recently pressured the turrets enough to kill all 3 nearly simultaneously.
Absolutely. I thought the explosion would come at the objective fight, but they do it solely within their lanes across the board. Dragon is still up as well, and we're seeing quite a bit of ultimates on each side, at least the junglers and the mids for now. And Jay does have a bit of disengage. Everybody's moving towards that zone. We're going to get our first big team fight coming up.
Well, Achie does have teleport available if he wants to join this one, but Dragon started out. I'm not too sure TPA want to get involved in this one.
I guess not.
SK will take this, and that's 3 towers and a Dragon, which will give them a 1,000 gold lead. Teleport to top, Freddy's going to protect it. No towers for TPA yet.
It's almost like everything is back to normal for SK. As soon as they were losing the laning phase, they're like, you know what? We're used to this. Now we can play normal. They were able to turn it around, get the Dragon, play their objective game, and now they're going to just hopefully make some team plays. When Bebe went for that blue Ezreal build, they lost a lot of lane pressure and presence. They've been pushed back despite him being able to keep up his CS. It's unlocked SK to take a lot of stuff around the map.
Oh, this was a wild, wild ride last time they faced each other. Of course, Gilius was playing and made that double face palm mistake. As Achie jumped in there. Tell a lie, that was the previous matchup, but there was a wild game. Back and forth, the Baron play. Achie in trouble here, getting stomped on. He will go down. Wind is going to come around the side. Jay is with him, and we can see also the claps from Morning. Freddie may well be locked out of position here, but while this is all happening, he's drawing all of the attention. SK Gaming are just pushing the inner turret.
So much play around and off of the ball right now.
They burned 2 ultimates to finish a target that was already dead to rights. That's going to make it so they have less threat on a collapsed mid lane.
Great job by SK to continue pushing forward. They're kind of just making TPA reactive to what they're doing, and they're acting on all the wrong things right now. Turret's still falling in favor of SK.
There are so many parallels between this game and the first game they played. SK with the lead. Remember, they were actually 5,000 gold up on TPA at one point in the late game, and they got completely outmaneuvered around the Baron pit. This time, though, SK is trying to take much more control of the map. They're the ones making the faster rotations, and Freddie is a monster in that top lane.
Yeah, there's been a few games that have happened throughout this World Championships where things get a little bit crazy and kills become the focus of attention, and SK have maybe reset their mind and thought, you know what, it's all about objectives. That's what we've been doing all season long, ignoring the kills, ignoring the fights, and continuing those objectives. So far, they are way ahead in that term. 4 towers to 0, the only dragon of the game, and that is why they are now, despite being down on kills, 2,000 gold ahead.
They're playing much better as a team. We saw the 10-minute mark of their dragon fight between this game where they fought it without Jesiz last time. Everybody's doing it as a group right now. TPA making their way to the mid lane, but the death squad of SK still moving around, power in numbers.
And TPA went on pretty big tilt the last time they lost the game as well. Once they started losing, they had a big advantage here. They were behind. The next few minutes will probably decide the game.
Some tricky play here. SK will get spotted. They realize there's 4 members. In the mid lane, CandyPanda's keeping that tower secure. He has the culling. He's just used it to wipe the wave out and actually put a little bit of pressure on towards Morning, who blocked it off with a wind wall. This top lane turret, they're collapsing. They're moving in towards them. SK are going to respond. You can see mirror match coming up the side there. Winds tries to sneak around the side. Morning is there. This fight could be crucial, but everybody is playing it very cautiously. Good ward coverage from both sides. They see the movement.
Definitely reconsidered.
Little bit touch and go. Freddie, though, finds some friends. That's an Alistair ultimate down, and a disengage was successful. That's actually a huge win for TPA.
See if they can keep this moving. They're going to now try and know they can go for mid lane without too much pressure. Going to be able to drop the first turret of their game. This will definitely help them get more deeper wards in and stop SK from just pushing them into their own base.
nRated almost took the wrong path there. Last second adjustment.
Safe, though.
But this does open up the top lane, and I believe Achie, despite the fact he's on a rise, he's not exactly the strongest of tower pushes. It buys him a fair amount of time to squeeze in.
And as far as rises are concerned, he's actually really underfarmed. 125 CS, continually getting pressured by Freddie. I mean, Freddie's a 3-5-2 Alistair, but has still been a absolute force, taking on 2 or 3 people at a time. TPA needs to kind of weather this storm. I actually think Alistair falls off a fair bit after this point. If they can find a way to not have him as such a force in lane, he's still going to be a couple cooldowns in a team fight. Bebe will be able to disengage him to reduce the threat of him while he has his ultimate running, and TP has a lot of re-engage potential. Also remember, there are 2 tier stacking champions on TPA. If they can get both of those fully stacked, it'll almost make up for their gold disadvantage later on.
A huge benefit to that as well as Morning's not taking that blue buff. It's always going to Bebe, so he's going to get there so much faster, and he's going to be able to shut down Freddie on those chases if he does get that slow.
So Dragon's up in around about a minute time, and SK are the one that are starting to place those wards out. There's not a single ward down towards around that Dragon Pit area from the Taipei Assassins, so they are completely blind to it so far. There's the couple of them. BB&J trying to keep Jesiz zoned away from that tower. Instead, he will just rotate around and defend that one. So Taipei Assassins, they really need to try and force something because they have no vision at all around that area. The entire blue area, the entire half of the map.
Dropping a turret would definitely help.
It's what happens when you're down 4 turrets to 0.
Slowly back and forth. Like you said, Jap, very touch and go, especially when SK is getting into these jungle engages.
Freddy making his way down. He's left the top lane. Tried to sneak around the backside of Bebe and Chieh. They did actually spot him. They had that pink ward over at the red, which gave them that prior warning. Dragon up in 3 seconds, and Taipei Assassins not even close to contesting this one.
No, they need more time to stack up. This is the mid-game point in the game where they really can't fight SK. They need to just try and... They're trying for a steal. They need to get these lanes pushing. If they could just get a single turret down, it would do wonders for their map control. But for now, they're just trying to set up pink wards in their own jungle and continue to front lanes without dying.
It's not doing much damage. Maybe Bebe could be using that True Shot Barrage to keep the outer lanes pushed and give them more of an advantage to take one of these outers down. Maybe focus in the mid lane here. A nice Black Shield coming out onto nRated. He's able to get himself out safely, taking the ults.
That's one way of stopping Lee Sin, is to get the shield down. That's the second counter, actually. SK knows the first counter is to flash away before it kicks you. Yeah. That one didn't work. So this time they bring the Black Shield. Having better luck.
See how it continues for them. Freddy back in the top lane. Stops Achie pushing in once again on towards that turret. Bebe picks himself up the red buff.
Bebe's build is just taking so long to turn on.
Yeah.
His power spike is just so far away. He needs to have the mana immune converted into a Mermana. He needs to have that Sheen turned into Iceborne Gauntlets. He needs cooldown boots. He needs Blade of the Ruin King finish. He just needs so many things. He's partway there. Now he at least has some utility. Before that, he was nothing on the map for 24 minutes.
That's going to help in both ways if they need to get away from the cow or keep everyone in range for an Achie Rune Prison and then the rest of the fight. Definitely a different game from the beginning. Wins has been shut down a little bit after going 4-1 and 4. He's not able to make too many plays now. They've been trying. They're coming up empty-handed, and SK has just started to take control of the map. 25 minutes in, and they still have not lost a turret.
Yeah, they're pushing every lane so far into Taipei Assassins, doing exactly what they need to do, just grinding out that advantage. nRated, though, he's caught out a little bit there. Black Shield once again working. Burns the flash, but successfully gets away. Just trying to get some of those deep wards down, and it's bought time for Freddy to shove a wave entirely onto the inhibitor turret. Nobody's anywhere near to stop him at the moment. You can see Adrian's coming across, and he's got that static shiv and Triforce. He can do a lot of damage to towers.
He shoves pretty quick too, and if Achie goes in there by himself, he may just get soloed under the turret. So you can see TPA has to move more of their team towards this spot. Burn the ultimate, now they have to disengage and get back to some turret defense. I think they lose turret number 5 for that.
Yeah, he's simply delay tactics working out for Freddy there. They're trying to hold time for the rest of SK. Wins trying to get around the backside, doesn't land it. Instead, he gets caught out. The kick works out still. They try and get the damage down, but Morning just does not have enough. Svenskeren gets away with a tick of his life. So low. Freddy, CandyPanda trying to work them away. Bebe fancies this one. He sees a triple kill in the mist, but does not have the ultimate available. And SK disengaged with the kill on Morning.
Bebe needed to be way more aggressive right there. He has the Iceborne Gauntlets for a reason. They need to be able to close those fights out. They had such a near great escape. Wins flash in the combo with Morning. They almost turned that one around. Instead, they get a kill. They get killed and get nothing in return.
I was so surprised. Yeah, you talked about it earlier. There's a lot of over the wall, a lot of disengage, hopping around from TPA, and Morning was the only one that went over on that. There was so much potential for that as everybody was in the air to add extra damage. TPA loses out on a great opportunity there, but SK capitalizes, takes down no, they didn't take down the turret, sorry, but they come up big.
Yeah, Bebe just seems to be waiting for more power. It was very odd for me to see him not go in there. Just after watching him during this group stage, he's been so aggressive, especially when he plays Lucian, dashing in to try and assassinate the enemy he carries. We'll see though, TPA still in this one, only 4,000 gold down, despite having such limited map control.
But it is slowly growing. Jesiz actually is the one that's going to get focused on. Force the flash away. Sonic Wave still lands. Oh, that's not going to work out. nRated comes around the side. Doesn't want to get too involved in this one. Shockwave pulls off. Now Binding lands, but it's not enough. There goes the Soul Shackles. nRated gets chopped down by Morning. The rest of SK going piece by piece. And they are splintered right now. They have to focus on Morning. They get him down. Now they turn their attention to Wins. CandyPanda may have the chase on him.
Quite scary of a fight. Yeah, the safeguard gets him into range. Or out of range, I should say. And a nice Howling Gale to pop up CandyPanda and Svenskeren. Wait a minute. Whoop. Dodging through. Bebe, there's that aggression. And it looks like they're not going to be able to get the relentless pursuit off of CandyPanda.
Yeah, he finished up that Mermana though. Yeah. So he is doing a whole bunch of damage. That ultimate landed, he may well have assassinated him right there. So really good catches by TPA. That's kind of the game they're going to have to be playing as they work slowly towards getting map control. It is a stall game. Whenever they can get catches in little fights like that, they create a longer match.
Well, a little warning shot, I feel, to SK Gaming there.
Yep.
A little overconfident, and we were talking about TPA's lack of warding. They have fantastic warding right now, littered down the river. They give themselves the opportunity to take their first tower of the game here. But the warning signs are there, and that's why the wards were bought. They realized they're getting cut off by SK.
Yeah, very nicely done. It's exactly what they're supposed to do. Those wards paid off. Not using as many pinks that they can't cover in the forward ward, so they're buying a lot of greens. You can see 2 right now on Morning, and 2 as well on Bebe. These guys are just trying to keep the vision up and deny the sweepers over on the side of SK.
And amongst all this, actually, the key for SK is to get Jesiz going. At the moment, TPA is building really heavy armor because they're not respecting the damage of Jesiz. They've been able to shut him down time and time again, and it's really working to the benefit of TPA.
Well, you see Freddy coming down, preparing for this dragon. He has to. That teleport is down. Achie back to the base, so he's going to be coming out, gets himself some consumables, and finishes up that Frozen Heart.
It looks like they want to fight for this one. They've given up the last 2 dragons without any contest.
Yeah.
It seems that they have that one time where they can get in, and that's a good hit.
It's really all about the poke
Oh,
Bebe here.
wow.
One after the other, and they can potentially fight.
Shielded off quite a bit there from Jesiz. Not the nuke you were looking for from the True Shot Barrage, but they are going to get themselves in the pit. Not too scary for Bebe. He can always shift out, but they pull it out just a little bit more. Got to keep an eye on that ball. Command Shockwave could really change a fight here. Freddy wants to try to come out big, but the disengage is there from Chieh.
Keep in mind, TPA never wants to be trapped in a fight while Freddy can ult and stick in the middle of them. That's why they're poking and poking. They're trying to get the Ouster ultimate down and still be ready to disengage. But if they land enough poke elsewhere, they can just take the Dragon outright.
Look at Wins. He's trying to flank around the side. He may get caught out here. He wants to get in, land that kick, and SK have got to be so careful they don't group up, because if Morning catches him with that ultimate, it will devastate them. And that is why it is very much a game of cat and mouse right now between the two.
See who can make the first mistake. That's pretty much what it's going to come down to. Nobody wants to initiate on this.
Freddy with a high ping trying to flank around, but he is spotted by TPA. However, if they continue this flank, it won't leave much for SK to run to. Really all about the poke, and as long as one, I think they're just going to stop thinking about the Dragon and start pushing lanes.
This Dragon fight is real respect you're seeing between these two teams. That first move is going to be the one that makes the difference. First turret going down for TPA against SK, and it looks like SK is going to make them walk to the beat of their drum.
CandyPanda rushing straight up the mid lane right now. They've got a big wave with them. Bebe has to try and get around the side, but they're going to get a lot of damage on towards this inhibitor turret. There's no flanking maneuver. SK Gaming, they pulled a great move on TPA, just like TPA did on SK Game 1.
Oh, Wins behind them.
Oh, a double kick of Jesiz hits the Zanyas on the way down. Svenskaren's definitely hit up on this one. No, he gets out alive somehow. Freddy coming up big for the team again, trying to be the front line. CandyPanda, relentless pursuit right to Wins, but he stays alive. nRated misses the flash, and it's too far away for the Dark Binding. They still could have eyes on the inhibitor turret, but Bebe throwing out big damage, low on mana.
Gotta be very careful what spells he uses here. SK wants to stick around because they know the threat is low from Bebe, but there's the home guard for Wins.
Wins coming steaming through. No, not gonna land the Sonic Wave. Freddy, the man taking the hits in the back. Bebe does manage to get the slowdown. Bebe Wins tries to flank around the side once again. Goes in. The pulverize goes down. Achie takes the damage, but the culling's not enough. The CandyPanda gets caught by the Asgards. Can they catch on towards him? The Dark Binding. Bebe wants it. Bebe will get it because CandyPanda's going down here. Can he take anyone with him? No! The captain comes through once again.
Some big kills from TPA there. Their base is about as bent as it can be without breaking. They still have that inhibitor up, and they're still on the chase.
This is absolutely crazy. Can they not see that Freddy did the headbutt pulverize so they could get out alive? nRated and CandyPanda stayed for the fight, and they are paying with their lives. Can SK make any moves off of this? We see Jesiz is actually trying to get himself around here. nRated now is creating a lot of chaos, though.
nRated actually created more pain than benefit right there, because the kill now goes to Rise, which is better gold scaling than on Lee Sin. Plus now they have to deal with this death timer instead of when they were all dead anyway.
They're spotted. They're going to try and take the blue, but Bebe had gone back to base. Dragon was taken. No, I tell a lie. They backed off it.
Yep.
The threat of Jesiz was enough to keep them away, and it does mean SK will pick up the Dragon. So despite the kills not go in their favor there, they will keep the gold advantage. It's only 2,000 gold, and while that was, of course, all happening in the top lane, Peng-Nien snuck through and took down that second turret of the game for Taipei Assassins.
What a fantastic set of play we have going on here for our last match of the day in group, or day 3, I should say, in the group stages.
Yeah.
Everybody's playing top notch on this one. We're seeing Wins and the rest of the team trying to take it to SK now. They're finally grabbing the turrets that they need. They're trying to close that gold gap. And we're getting Bebe to that point where he can start to carry with the poke he's providing.
He's sitting at 35% CDR now as well, so you can throw out those Iceborne Gauntlet and Power Qs again and again. We saw the effectiveness there in the extended fights. As long as TPA can keep fighting in those really spread out ways and making the fights longer than 7 seconds long is basically the key, because they do not want Freddy's ultimate to have that big of an impact on fights.
And you know, we heard a lot about Wins pre-tournament. Of course, we saw him with the Gamma Bears last year, but he didn't really put a show on that he required. This time around at 617, once again on Lee Sin, as I sing his praises, he gets caught by the Dark Binding. The commentator's curse is real, ladies.
That is a really critical catch right there, but they still have yet to deal with this poke from Bebe. They're going to try and push down some waves now the Winds is gone and the initiation threat is lowered.
Something that SK has been able to do is get these forward wards in. TPA is getting the kills, but they're not able to move on the side of SK, and SK continues to come back stronger each time here. Now, again, to the front side of TPA's base. They're going to back off and get the fights that they want. They're doing this very methodically.
This is tricky. It looks like a Baron bait. Are they going to go straight into Baron?
Well, they know Winds isn't there. They don't kill it remarkably fast. Scrying Orb does spot them, and the poke from TPA is really high, so unless SK did that completely unscouted, there's no way they take that Baron.
Danger indeed. They sense it. Gonna get some ward clearing here. Freddy actually walks out over that one, looking to see if he can deter any of the backs and just be a nuisance. Not getting much. CandyPanda, that was the ultimate into the wind wall, so they do not have the calling right now.
Wins is back up. Remember, there is a naked inhibitor in this mid lane, which is what they tried to bully out. There's a gigantic minion wave getting swept out by Achie with that ultimate, but the rest of SK, they could tank this one through. Instead, TPA react fast. They're in the right position at the right time, and again, Wins looking for that flanking maneuver, looking for that sonic wave. Very, very close to landing on CandyPanda there as he rode the Howling Gale.
Pushed up to their base. This is all that TPA has left now. They're going to try to find a fight here unless they can find SK making a mistake at Baron. Everybody's got the items they need to make the impact in the fight. Like you were saying, Jed, if TPA can wait 7 seconds, that fight becomes so much easier.
And it's very important that SK can find a fight in somewhat closed quarters. One thing that kind of snuck up on everyone here is the fact that CandyPanda is way ahead of Bebe. If we look at the gold, actually, it's almost 15,000 gold to just 11,000 on Bebe. It's like a 3.6k gold lead, actually. So for as far as Jesiz is behind, it's not even close to compared to how far ahead CandyPanda is from Bebe. Yes, the Iceborne Gauntlet is utility, but that's about it from Bebe right now. He needs about 15,000 gold to make that Blue Ezreal really work well, and they're just not there yet.
Well, 15,000 gold just hit right now by CandyPanda. A little bit of that armor pen definitely coming through on Bebe with the Brutalizer and the rest, and you can see the gold lead a little bit in TPA for the beginning, but SK has just taken hold.
We haven't touched on Svenskeren's build either. He is full damage.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Looks
Not a
painful.
single tanky item in there.
Jeez.
Is that an Infinity Edge he's building?
Infinity Edge?
Yeah, it is.
You could do a few other things. Technically, he could build the pickaxe into Tiamat and then make the BF sword a scimitar. But those are definitely Infinity Edge components. It's not a very good Calyx item, though. I think he's just trying to mass AD right now.
Well, it's working out. He's definitely buying the right items. Maybe they were on sale. Who knows? We'll see what TPA can do to answer back. We see Bebe just trying to continuously poke out. Not been able to do much with that and control the fights. But SK has been doing a great job at disengaging. The game where they have not tried to take too much. A turret and back, a turret and back.
Well, in SK not trying to take too much, they may take too little Yes, they've taken
Very
7
true.
turrets, but it's taken them 37 minutes. And there's now that GA on Morning. There's also a GA on CandyPanda. He decided to opt against the damage for more defensive utility. He showed those minions with calling.
Yeah, he did. It's a quick cooldown. It's going to be back up, but the question is, will they get it in time? Because SK are looking to engage here. Possibly not the right move when your main AD carry just used his ultimate on a wave. Bebe with the rest of his team, going to get caught out by the Void Spikes. But every single time, a single one of those Mystic shots. No, tell a lie, it's the... It's been a while since I saw an Ezreal.
No, I think you got it.
Essence Flux?
Mystic shot.
Mystic shot, I was right.
Yeah, the Q.
I was right.
Always believe in yourself. But seriously, I like the fact that TPA has double GA right now. Because they're just trying to create long fights where they can then chase people down thanks to the Janna Ezreal. They're trying to reset fights. As soon as Freddy uses his ultimate, they need to be able to have that second life. So having 2 GAs works tremendously towards that goal. And I think SK is actually in a little bit of trouble if TPA finds that right fight.
So much cooldown for Bebe. If he's not using the Scrying Orb, he's using the True Shot Barrage for Vision. With that down, they're going to try to start this Baron up.
That's going
do
quick.
have a bit more damage now with the
Vision lost, and they
Svenskeren.
the scout.
Locks it in. Good job by CandyPanda locking that one down, and we'll see what SK can do after this. Does this just make them the team to push through the base, or are they still going to hesitate and take it slow?
They need to back fast because SK are just running straight down this mid lane.
Oh, wow.
One is going to try and keep them away. Everybody's back into base, but they're going to be onto the inhibitor just as they get back.
Yeah.
Look at Svenskeren. Don't forget all the damage items he has. He's going to cleave great big chunks out of that inhibitor, and it will go down fast.
TPA giving up a lot of stuff right there just because of lackluster vision control, but it's been an exposed inhibitor. As long as they clean that mid wave, they can still hold it. It's the second inhibitor that would really break their back. They're still keeping this game close, not wanting to take the wrong fight because they know that would end the game.
Well, TPA are going to try and rush down mid here. They're going to try and take something for nothing. Dragon will go down. They will get themselves a tower because they can see SK running down towards the bottom lane. If SK don't react quick enough to this one, they may, just maybe, able to break through.
It's definitely one. It's the second one that'll be the question. The home guards, how quickly can they make there? And how willing is TPA to actually take that risk? Because when they push like this, it's a long way from their base. And it is a Baroned up SK team.
Yeah, it's half-hearted push. I don't think they're going to get enough on it, and they realize it already. They do step away. So SK return. Quarter chunk of damage. Svenskeren, you can see just how much damage Bebe does have, but once that build is complete, if you can land it, slow the right target, they still may just have a chance of winning the fight.
Okay, so I'm sold on the Infinity Edge for Svenskeren now because Freddy's building one.
So for Freddy, it's actually a really good item. He gets so much attack damage from his ultimate. Now that he's level 18, actually, rank 3 of Unbreakable Will, outside of the fact that it gives him 70% damage reduction, gives him an extra 90 attack damage.
Yeah.
So you get 1 Infinity Edge crit on that, and you basically pop somebody, which could very well turn this game if they get it at the right time.
So Taipei Assassins, the hometown favorites and champions of the Korea Premier League, are looking like they may give SK Gaming their first win of the group, and that would actually tie them at the bottom of the table, or third place, whichever way you'd like to look at it. Of course, both will have one more game to play. That will come tomorrow, the final day here in Taiwan. The question is, who will come out victorious on this final matchup? CandyPanda uses the Cullen, doesn't really find its target. TPA clear the way, keep them at bay for a little bit longer.
Well, it's been an absolutely fantastic match to finalize the day. Nothing taken there for Morning. A little too much of a gap to be closed by the rest of the team, but it was a great pop-up. SK is standing here confidently and ready to enter the base.
It's getting to the breaking point here for TPA. They're having trouble clearing the minions in mid lane, and that could be the start of something big. There goes their fight reset.
Jay gets hit up. That's the shockwave. They haven't used the big AoEs on too many. Wow. Single target's getting focused out. Morning's going to be hit up. He tries to go into the fight. They get Jesiz quite well. He throws down the Zanya's. The true shot barrage passes through, and SK might be retreating.
They're trying to keep them at bay here. Morning went down so fast. I don't think he got a chance to use anything of that ultimate. But TPA hold off.
Thank God for his GA right there. After he resurrected, they popped the ultimate really quick to get his shield, then he could still flash away. It's the long fights they want. They just got it, actually. They might try to chase down the rest of SK here slowly, but surely.
Bebe trying to be aggressive, got caught by the void spikes, but it was enough to slow him down. He's going to continue. There's the kick, the Sonic Wave lands, but he can't get inside. A good catch from Jesiz once again. They disengage well. Bebe trying his best to keep up on them, but it looks like they can't chase them down quick enough.
Jay's flying through. This could be a nice Howling Gale to pop them up and continue the fight. He's going to throw it. It's diagonally. No, it goes up instead of across the trees.
Sven right side.
Sven's coming in from the back there. Very nicely done. Morning gets hit up through everybody because of Freddy, and they're able to take him down near 70 seconds on these Death Chamber clocks.
Super Minions doing damage to that Nexus turret, but SK Gaming disengaged well. Oh, Bebe sniped out Svenskeren in the bush just for the end there. That's going to hold things for a few moments.
Explosive.
Just poking and prodding for TPA as they're trying to keep this game going. They didn't break there. Honestly, that was a very good hold by them, and you can see the potential. Unfortunately, the Guardian Angel from Yasuo is down, so they won't have that one left. Nice snipe. Right on his Svenskeren as well. So yeah, Bloodthirster actually for his BF sword. Sitting on that pickaxe.
He did it. What a joke.
However, Freddy's got that Infinity Edge now. So there's that.
Does indeed. 561. Yep, that looks like it hurts.
Yeah, and when he's going to be under Unbreakable Will,
right,
it's going to get much higher.
Really giving himself some options. The rest of the team on the side of TPA have their options as well. They are all near full items here. 44 minutes in the game. We're getting very close to that point. The Brutalizer just to be finished up by Bebe. He'll be done with his build as well. These fights, this is the point that's my favorite because the items are just the items now. It's how well you can play the champion you brought to the table.
Yeah, that Baron's going to be up in 90 seconds time along with the Dragon in 75. I wonder whether SK Gaming are even thinking about them or whether they just want to push straight on through. They've held on for a while, but every time they keep on trying to push through, TPA have an answer and they just hang on in there. We talked about how they needed to make just that one little incy-wincy play, and Bebe seems to have the answer every single time they go through. Once again, the exposed inhibitor is the focus, and Bebe's trying to sneak around, trying to get those angles. But CandyPanda has his GA back up. Morning does not.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yasuo has to play much more cautious. However, they still have that Rise GA. I just heard a Ghost Blade get popped by CandyPanda. Yeah, that is not the most critical cooldown. It comes back in 45 seconds. And it's really hard to push into this TPA team after what happened last time as well.
Where is Wins going? He's coming around the side. He's trying to flank them.
He's got to watch his kick here. They saw that ward come from behind. That's going to be a call that Freddy makes. We need to be careful.
You'd have to make sure not to get black shielded as well. That's the most critical thing.
Oh, good work ball there. Immediately blocks it off. Testy on this one. CandyPanda, half the hit point shredded off him, and again, TPA pushed them back. The Baron about to spawn.
Bebe did expend about half of his mana pool in that last fight, though, which means it would not be good for an extended fight. Plus, Rise is up there. This Baron's going down fast. TPA has to act immediately.
Wins is not close enough.
Not close enough indeed. Oh, the True Shot Barrage. About 1,000 HP too soon. Nice try coming out of Bebe. He's been making plays. That one just misses. Freddy can't get too close. He's getting chilled out there coming through the mid lane, and they are going to be forced to walk this one back in slow with the Baron this time.
Yeah, SK can't get cold feet here. They have to go straight for the inhibitor, and then probably, if they get that without using Unbreakable Will, head for the top lane turret.
We'll see whether they get through on towards that one and get a couple of shots on towards it. The inhibitor slowly rocking down. Achie desperately trying to get in close enough. They still haven't taken the inhib now. That culling not doing a great deal of damage, and Taipei Assassins, well, despite losing that inhibitor, they hold on and they get themselves a turret of their own with the Winions.
Achie using his ultimate on that one to kind of deter it. SK wasn't having any of it. They're going to go ahead and now push the top lane. Losing that bottom one should reset soon, actually, with the next wave coming out. And the turret as it reaches that minion wave. 77,000 to 70,000. We're at 147 combined right now. Everybody's playing out of their minds, especially Bebe for TPA, really keeping them in this game.
Just so annoying to play against a full item Blue Ezreal.
Yeah.
However, that turret's very low, and the Baron buff makes the fight something SK can use for their benefit.
Freddy headbutts wins into SK, and SK leap back in surprise along with Rivington, by the way. They do manage to take down the inhibitor turret along with the inhib, and it seems that SK may well have just cracked that nut wide open that they've been desperately trying to work through for Taipei Assassins.
It's definitely a storm the TPA has been trying to weather for quite some time. Finally breaking through the outer walls here. 2 inhibitors down. TPA doesn't really have the greatest of wave clear, and SK will just keep going all the way around. They've definitely worked their way into this position, but they are in position to win now.
Absolutely. Only 4 turrets allowed for TPA to be taken down. And there's about 5 that stand, or rather 3 that stand, I'm sorry, on the rest of the map. Coming in for SK. It looks like they want to drop everyone as they go through. They only have 1 inhibitor. TPA, I like the moves they're making. They're trying to get deep wards in, and they're trying to get some picks so they can make a move.
They want to catch somebody out here, but SK Gaming have been up against teams that have tried this many, many times before.
This is TPA's favorite spot. I feel like every time they fall behind, they wait there and try to get a pick.
They're going for Freddy.
They're going for Freddy, but I think they know they're going to find a crossfire of SK on the way through, and that's what they're waiting for. Another great shield coming in from nRated. He's locking down the shield. Will he be able to lock down the soul shackles? No, he does not.
Oh,
they are going to
Achie.
grab Achie. Can they recuperate on this as he comes up from the Guardian Angel? It's just too much chaos, and Freddy joins the fight.
Achie's teleport goes straight into the team. Bebe gets away, but no help. Wynn's going to get chased down. He gets hooked up. Bebe, the last man. Can he keep them at bay? Tries to force up, fires up the ultimate. Morning now, coming around the side. Can he create a play? Gets on towards nRated, takes down 1. Bebe continues to kite them backwards in towards the base. The rest of SK chase on through. Morning has to back fast.
How slow can BB make SK? Morning's on his way. It is a 2v5 trying to defend these Nexus turrets, but those super minions do not go down easy.
Gonna lower that armor. They're gonna drop these turrets. Headbutted right out. Freddy says, I'm the front line. You gotta go through me. They drop it down. 1 for CandyPanda, and that's gonna be 1 for Jesiz. They drop the turrets. They're looking at the Nexus, and SK Gaming takes down the Taipei Assassins.
SK Gaming, a 50-minute brawl right there with TPA. Down in kills by the end of it, but ahead in the overall game. They get their first win of the World Championships.
Fantastic matchup we just had here to close out day 3 of group stages. Amazing play from both teams. A shutout early game from SK, which shows the strength that they would have loved to have coming in to Worlds right off the bat.
It's been a long way coming, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They've been waiting for that 1 victory, and it took SK Gaming to fall back onto a couple of comfort champions, honestly, that made them work. And you just saw Chris on nRated, on Morgana, finally getting that black shield off, and it just stopped wins so many times. He fell for it, went for the kick. Not going to work when that black shield is on, and he fell for it 3 times running.
Stopped the TPA initiation in most of the games. Black shield is better than Flash against Lee Sin, I think, is one thing we definitely learned today. However, that was a very strange game. Obviously, I could see where they were going with the Blue Ezreal, trying to use it to keep the fights going long, chase people down, but their absolute lack of in-fight damage was really telling. They just had to concede so many objectives that eventually it was a little bit too much to bear. They had to try and make a desperate play when they were down 2 inhibitors, and that's eventually what led to the end of the game. If they wouldn't have went for that aggressive play, they would have lost anyway.
Also, the Blue Ezreal coming out for BB. Nice to see here at Worlds. You always get to see a change in style and play. It worked out quite well in the beginning, and the idea was perfect for stopping Freddy, slowing him down. But Freddy, unstoppable, unbelievable play once again from champion to champion. He can always carry this team when the time comes.
Absolutely. You know, it's been very hard to shut down the shot caller despite all the bans going towards him. And if it wasn't for wins potentially in the early game where it was just shutting them down left and right, 6-1-7 at one point he was.
Yeah.
SK Gaming, we've said it so many times, slow in lane phase. Once they get out of it, Freddy can be that. I'm trying to think of the word for it. He's basically the leader of the orchestra. What's the damn man?
The conductor?
Conductor, that's the word.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I would've
I just thought of Monte Cristo. Why did I not think of that?
I just would have made up a word if I was looking for
Well,
one.
you would have. That's
Yeah.
We'll write a book someday, guys. Absolutely.
Nonetheless, fantastic play. SK Gaming finally get themselves that one Pride win. For now, though, we're going to send it over to Quickshot and the guys for more info about that game.
Thank you very much, guys. Very, very interesting game, the way it played out. Despite SK's map control, they never really were in control of the entire game. Let's go back to picks and bans. Some weird and wonderful picks. We saw Ezreal coming out for the first time here at Worlds. We also saw nRated going back to a champion that is more successful than Sona. Let's start with Ezreal first and your take on the blue build at Double F.
Can I just say, why would you ever pick Ezreal when Tristana's up and they already picked Lucian? I'm just like Tristana almost always wins so far in Worlds, right? And it just seems really natural that you would pick Tristana, very good in lane versus Lucian, also outscales. This game went 50 minutes. If they just had Tristana, it would have been an auto win. It also has amazing synergy with Yasuo, which was also on their team. I'm just so mind blown.
Yeah, just in terms of bans as well, you see a blue side Nami ban. I don't really know if many people are, fishy business for sure, are that afraid of Jay's Nami, especially when we look at what happened when they gave Wins Lee Sin again, which is something that pretty much every other team has been not doing
They learned that
against
lesson.
TPA. But it's just, at the same time, if you can let them have Nami, you get the Braum, then you lane swap, because they lane swapped anyway.
Or you just lane. You can lane
Or you
that.
learn how to play against the champion.
I don't know.
Let's look at some of the
questionable.
positives. It was
Yeah.
a difficult game to play. SK came out. They did get map control. No one can deny that. They had a tower advantage throughout the majority of the game. However, they didn't stamp their authority. It felt like TPA found opportunities and ways to keep the game going. What's your take?
Couple positive points because we don't have to be negative all the time. I think nRated showed up in terms of binds. Yeah, I'm actually very negative. But yeah, I think his Black Shields needed work, a lot of work. They were better towards the end of the game, but his bindings in the early to mid game were good, helped solidify that laning phase. Freddy is a rock. He is basically winning those games. At one point, TPA was sending 3 or 4 people top, and they lost 2 towers. I don't know why. I don't know what talent Alistar has in the game.
You had an Infinity Edge. Like, what more of a taunt do you need?
Freddy was like, get off me.
That was
just like, kill him.
Come at me, bro.
It was Taipei Assassins in general, though. You saw them chase around the Morgana for like 7 minutes, and then Dragon's still up, by the way. And then they recall back to base, and Sven's like, wait, do you want us to kill Dragon real quick? And they like just duo it like at 45 minutes in, just like for no reason. Yeah,
well, let's get to the replay. Let's get to the replay. It actually exemplifies a little bit of the sloppy play. Pull the replay up onto your screens. And just before I give it to Crepo, take note of the mini-map. SK are really far down. At this stage, I think they had 6 towers to 1, as it were, if not 0. Anyways, Crepo, all yours.
So what prefaces this play is basically there was a Dragon standoff for way too long, and then SK finally figured out they could run to mid, and TPA reacted really slowly, but they did a smart thing. They knew their tower was going down anyways, so instead of all basing and then losing potentially like a Baron rotation, they actually wanted to flank. So if we roll that clip right now, we can see, the tower's going down. They're trying to stall in mid, and Wins does this really well. He jumps, fakes the Black Shield on the rated, then flashes, gets a good kick. Kha'Zix gets cancelled, double Yasuo ulti. That's a solid combo.
Yeah, that was pretty dirty. And also, take note, this is Jay's probably best ulti right here, where you kind of split up SK's team a lot, but it just
wasn't enough.
Yeah, it wasn't enough. Actually, SK ended up getting chased down here only because they overcommitted for the inhibitor after. If they had just backed off here, it would have been a pretty decent win, in my opinion. They got the inhib tower, that's all they need.
Well, the inhib play in general, I mean, we're going to take a look at the rest of this, though, is like they kept baiting Baron when they could have gone for the inhibitors anyway. And with the blue build Ezreal here, with the Iceborne Gauntlet, you do get those slows coming in, so you can actually get the kiting. And nRated misses a Q right there.
One of the things I want to ask is SK Gaming sticking around for the greedy inhibitor play.
Yeah,
this is something that I was highlighting. They didn't really close the game in a safe way, despite having what could have been absolute map control. Vision, another lacking thing in SK's game.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you're saying is they went for the inhibitor at the wrong time and then didn't go for it at the right time either. It was pretty messy.
I think both teams showed why they're fighting for the 3rd spot in this group.
Oh.
It's strong, but it's true.
No, it is true. Yeah, you've had both teams, match up with their fairly weak laning phases of really awkward ganks, and like you've seen every single one of these pay out, and we actually see why teams so rarely heavily gank top lane all the time. SK did a good job for what it's worth of capitalizing on that, but TPA is a living example of why you the really good teams don't do that.
I think the best player in this game was still Freddy, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So many bans
I
targeted
think wins as well. It was the only reason that TPA was able to even come back in some of these situations. Wins played really well.
He did carry that.
Let's slide our things on just a little bit. I want to bounce off what Crepo said. You're talking about how these teams are fighting for third place because after 18 matches played, the first group stage is only 1 day away from being wrapped up. Let's take a look at the standings as they are after 3 days worth of games. We're going to look on the left-hand side of the bracket first. Samsung White and Edward Gaming, 5-0, 3-1. Once Edward Gaming either beat AHQ tomorrow, or if AHQ lose to Dark Passage, Edward Gaming is in 100% locked in their group.
Yeah.
I don't think everybody is too surprised by those results, and we're going to talk a little bit about Group B. As we've said, SK Gaming TPA fighting for that third place spot. Team Solomid and Starhorn Royal Club, they're battling for the number 1 and 2 seeds.
My prediction of TSM coming out on top can still happen, so I'm rooting for TSM.
Do you think it will happen?
It might, actually.
And they play Starhorn Royal Club first thing tomorrow morning. Just to remind everybody, while we had that on the table, if the teams who are tied at the bottom of the table are in 3rd and 4th, they will simply share a joint 3rd place seed.
Yeah.
Whereas if there are any tiebreakers, you look at head-to-heads. So there's a lot of people asking, but TSM and TPA could still tie. Yes, but because of the 2-0 head-to-head record,
right,
TSM automatically advance. I want to briefly ask you guys about the TSM versus Starhorn Royal Club matchup tomorrow, because it's going to be an interesting one after how good TSM looked and Starhorn Royal Club, little sketchy around the edges. Very quickly, do you really think TSM can take it, will take it, might take it?
If TSM on their side lanes can survive, Bjergsen can get big enough and get an advantage in mid, and then Amazing can find some pressure in the early game, then Bjergsen could carry that game.
I think Starhorn Royal Club's dive-heavy kind of style, where they want a team fight and just really get in there, is naturally countered by TSM's team comp, where they have double shields and a hyper carry to protect. It's very simple for them to just peel back and do as much damage as possible. So if Starhorn Royal Club's picks go wrong and they give TSM what they want, it could be a very easy win for TSM.
Just before we move on to Thank you very much, I have one last question. Briefly, Edward Gaming versus Samsung White. I said I was going to quote you, and I'm going to. Edward Gaming's weak early game, perceived weak early game, is it going to cost them against Samsung White at the end of the day tomorrow?
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking about Samsung White here. They're on like the other level, right? So I don't think that's really.
And is there no way Edward Gaming steps up to challenge him to take a win? Not a hope.
I can't say it's a 0% chance. I would put it at 20%, you know?
Okay, it's bigger than I
would say a little bit higher than that. I think there is a very real chance. Again, you call them baby blue. This is the kryptonite of the team, is this style where maybe the lanes aren't great, but they certainly play the map better than you do. And I think that's still true. I think Edward Gaming plays the map better than White. Just don't screw up your lane so darn hard, and then maybe you get into the mid-game.
Well, we will find out. Of course, tomorrow's games are going to be about that seeding more than anything else. All right, it is time to take a look at some of the dapper crowd of carnivorous junglers. That's right, it is time once again for Thank you very much. Right, so first and foremost, Svenskeren actually dodged a ward to set this play up. Anyone care to comment?
Yeah, I mean, he comes out of vision here, but the beauty was indeed, he knew there was a ward, backed out, then jumped over the Baron pit, snuck in on the right side, and yeah, didn't see this coming. Too bad a sapling didn't take it for epic style points.
Indeed.
He actually lands his Qs really well. We've seen a lot of Lee Sins miss their Qs after kicks. He did not.
This was a great counter gank in the mid lane, but wins. What a good setup to get it started.
Amazing. And Morning, too, with the patience, too. He didn't go immediately in on the kick that we see a lot of Yasuo's do, so basically the target doesn't move on the Dragon's Rage. Very patient ult, really nicely played.
Yeah, really unfortunate that this Rune Prison catches that unfortunate melee minion. Not working out. All right, double lift. This is a very good gank for first blood.
Yeah, I think that's just a standard Thresh Lantern back into a flash play. There's almost nothing that you can do in this situation. You just have to respect the fact that you could have gotten flash flayed. Because here it's just like, yeah, Braum can flash and Lucian can flash, but as soon as you get flayed and Kha'Zix is on you, you're dead.
And it doesn't matter how good you are when you're playing against Thresh. What do you think, Freak?
It's true. It's really impressive down in the bottom lane here. This I just love. The fact that he actually lines up the edges perfectly, and he has to shoot it backwards. So he has to entirely understand the hitbox so darn well.
And he flashed the traps as soon as the animation started also.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. It really, really is. Anyways, guys, of course, tomorrow is the final day for the first group stage of the World Championship here in Taipei. And we do have 6 matches remaining as teams fight for that final spot in the quarterfinals. That'll be in Group A. The action will begin with Team Solomid versus Starhorn Royal Club, and the games will conclude with Samsung White taking on Edward Gaming. Those could both determine first and second seeds. Reminder, those games will begin Sunday at 11 a.m. Central European Summer Time. It's 2 a.m. Pacific. Until then, I'd like to thank all of our special guest analysts, Crepo, Double F, Monte Cristo, as well as Freak down at the end. And along for the entire World Broadcast team, thank you for watching. We will see you all tomorrow.
Straight on top of this one, took falling low. There's a dive into the ball. Oh, can I get him? He survives with the monsoon. They're all very low here at Royal Club, but they're going to try and turn it around. And Raven will be the first one. Shockwave goes down. In the back, going to get exhausted. What's he going to do? He's on towards Green Tea. Dandy will dive over. His reset city for Samsung White.
Things have changed for Team Solo Mid since the boot camp in Korea, and so far they are showing results.
And now it's going to be Morning. He finds Dyrus, but again, the wild growth is strong enough, and Morning's now in trouble. He's going to get picked up. Bebe comes around. He's just not got the damage a Wild Turtle does.
Koro again going into a 3v1 situation. The spikes are going to go right through and take down Touch, and they're in the base for the win.
Straight into the team. Bebe gets away, but no help. Win's going to get chased down. He gets hooked up.
And an absolutely fantastic match to finalize the day.